Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation on the impact of K-pop on C-pop. My name is Jimmyn Parc, and I will be your presenter for this lecture. Before we go further, it is necessary to define what C-pop is. C-pop, shortly for Chinese pop music, refers to one of the popular music originating from China. Here, it is important to highlight the differences between popular music and pop music. First, popular music means any kind of music that can be enjoyed by any groups of people. By contrast, pop music means music that is widely enjoyed by a large number of general publics or audiences while gaining high commercialization. Especially, pop music includes a diverse range of music styles and genres that have gained popularity both domestically and internationally. Interestingly, due to linguistic differences in China, there are three main categories in C-pop by language. First, Canto-pop. It is a prominent genre of C-pop originating from Hong Kong and Cantonese area. It emerged in the 1970s from so-called English pop, and it has evolved into a distinct musical style, which is characterized by its fusion of Cantonese lyrics with Western pop music influences. Second, Mandopop. It is another major category of C-pop that is originated in mainland China and Taiwan. It also includes a wide range of music styles, including pop, rock, ballad, and more, and it is widely popular across Mandarin-speaking regions. This has been the most dominant pop music in the present China, following Canto-pop, which was popular in the 1980s and 1990s. Lastly, Hokkien pop. This is a lesser-known but significant category of C-pop that caters to Hokkien-speaking audiences. Hokkien is a Chinese dialect spoken in Fujian province and Taiwan. In general, Canto-pop and Mandopop are considered to be influenced by Shidaichu, which is a mix of Chinese traditional tune and Western music developed in the 1930s. Whereas Hokkien pop is under the influence of Japanese Yenka, as Taiwan was colonized by Japan in the early 20th century. In fact, the rise of C-pop began with Canto-pop. Canto-pop gained its popularity in the 1970s through the theme songs featured in drama series produced by TVB, a major television network in Hong Kong. In particular, Canto-pop gained a great popularity through its incorporation into Hong Kong films, where the music became integral to the storytelling and marketing of movies. In the 1980s and 1990s, Hong Kong film gained great popularity, particularly in East and Southeast Asian countries. Interestingly, U.S. trade pressure in East Asia, such as the Plaza Accord in 1985 and Korea-U.S. film agreements in 1985 and 1988, contributed to the spread of Hong Kong films, which helped a great popularity of Canto-pop. Due to Plaza Accord, the value of Japanese yen increased. This means that non-Japanese goods became cheaper for Japan. Thus, Japan began to import a large number of Hong Kong films. Also, due to Korea-US film agreements, Korean film importers and distributors were not able to import and distribute lucrative Hollywood films directly in Korea. Thus, they began to import and distribute Hong Kong films instead of Hollywood films in Korea. More importantly, the wide availability of VCR largely helped the increase in import and consumption of Hong Kong films. Therefore, Canto-pop became exposed to international audiences. As a result, Canto-pop became very popular in many regions. Thus, Canto-pop icons like Jackie Chan, Andy Lau, Leon Lai, and ReConnect gained immense popularity both domestically and internationally during this period. They were even called as Four Heavenly Kings. Renowned actors such as Leslie Chung and Joey Wong also contributed to the global appeal of Cantopop through their music and film careers. Currently, K-pop is very popular in Hong Kong, but it was reversed in the 1980s and 1990s. It is interesting to mention the fact that Andy Lau held a groundbreaking concert in Seoul in 1991, which became the largest concert of his career. This event not only showcased the international reach of Cantopop, but also solidified its status as a cultural phenomenon beyond Hong Kong's borders. However, the popularity of Cantopop did not last in the late 1990s. Through the Sino-British Joint Declaration of 1984, the handover of Hong Kong to China in 1997 was mentioned. This has caused a significant political and cultural shift toward Mandarin as the dominant language over Cantonese. This impacted the linguistic landscape of Hong Kong's entertainment industry. Additionally, the outflow of investment in the Hong Kong film industry following the declaration affected the decline of Hong Kong films. In other words, the distribution of Cantopop became limited. Korean film has gained its competitiveness in the early 1990s. As a result, Korea imported a lesser number of Hong Kong films. Naturally, it reduced the exposure and distribution of Cantopop to Korean audiences. MTV Asia, a channel which is dedicated to broadcast music video, was established in Hong Kong in 1991. Then, this channel was replaced by Channel V in 1994. Initially, MTV Asia and Channel V were effective medium to distribute Cantopop internationally. However, the relaunch of MTV Asia in 1995 intensified the competition in the music broadcasting industry, and this helped the introduction of non-Chinese music scene not only to Chinese audiences, but also to international audiences who enjoyed MTV Asia and Channel V. These channels ran 24 hours, therefore they needed a large number of pop music. Naturally, a large number of non-Chinese music were also broadcasted. Through such process, Chinese consumers were exposed to other countries' music scenes such as J-pop and K-pop. Quickly, these types of music have gained popularity among Chinese audiences. As a result, Cantopop faced severe competition for airtime and exposure on these platforms. The introduction of the internet from mid-1990s onward revolutionized the music industry as well. With free access to music from around the world, Chinese listeners had more options beyond Cantopop, and this led to a decline in its dominance and popularity. K-pop began to spread in the pan-Chinese region through platforms like Channel V and MTV Asia, which also broadcasted Korean music videos and programs. The internet also played a crucial role in the dissemination of K-pop, which has enabled fans across the world to access to music, videos, and information about K-pop artists. Thus, early K-pop groups like Clone, H.O.T., NRG, and Babybox gained popularity among Chinese audiences, and this has established the foundation for K-pop's expansion in China. More importantly, Korean entertainment companies took a strategic movement by targeting the Chinese and Japanese markets through introducing popular K-pop acts. K-pop bands and artists like SES in the late 1990s, BoA in the early 2000s targeted Chinese and Japanese market although they ended up with more popularity in Japan. Since the mid-2000s, K-pop groups such as Super Junior and EXO recruited Chinese members to attract Chinese consumers. Korean entertainment, including dramas, films, and K-pop, has circulated through online platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, which is currently referred to as X, and Chinese streaming sites. These platforms have played a significant role in promoting K-pop content among Chinese audiences, as well as audiences in other countries. Despite issues with piracy, unofficial distributors and websites have also contributed to the spread of K-pop in China, and it has also helped K-pop's growing popularity among Chinese audiences. Before analyzing the impact of K-pop on C-pop, it is necessary to understand the contemporary pop music scene. There are three distinctive elements in music: melody, lyrics, and visual image. First, regarding melody, Chinese musicians have recognized the popularity of K-pop among their target audiences. So they have tried to incorporate musical elements of K-pop into their own music to meet consumers' preferences. Second, regarding lyrics, the language barrier between China and Korea hindered the linguistic influence of K-pop on C-pop. Initially, many C-pop songs have included English lyrics, but more recently, Chinese consumers generally prefer songs with Chinese lyrics only. Therefore, most of C-pop has Chinese lyrics currently. Last, Chinese consumers have shown a growing interest in the visual aesthetic and presentation style commonly found in K-pop music video, including colorful and elaborate sets, stylish fashion, and dynamic choreography. Especially K-pop's influence on C-pop is evident in the adoption of K-pop inspired dance moves by Chinese artists and performers. Also, individual Chinese artists and celebrities have been increasingly influenced by the glamorous and polished appearance of K-pop idols. Thus, they have also adopted Korean makeup trend and cosmetic surgery procedures within the Chinese entertainment industry. More importantly, there have been endeavors to copy K-pop production system and also to collaborate with Korean entertainment companies to enhance the competitiveness of C-pop. Recently, C-pop has gained its domestic popularity more than before. There are several reasons. First, the promotion of Xi Jinping's China Dream during the 2010s has fostered a sense of nationalism and identity among Chinese people. This has influenced various aspects of Chinese society, including the entertainment industry. Second, the national identity and pride have formed a solid Chinese market, which is more secured and profitable for Chinese artists, especially Chinese K-pop members. Due to the severe competition in the K-pop scene, there is no guarantee that Chinese K-pop members can be successful in Korea. However, they have found a receptive audience within China where their support for national values and policies resonate strongly with domestic consumers. This has led to increased popularity and success of Chinese K-pop members within Chinese market. This is why Chinese K-pop members often openly express their support to Chinese government and its policies. Following the deployment of U.S. missile system in Korea in 2017, which is called Third Crisis in South Korea, China imposed a ban on Chinese Korean culture, popular culture, including K-pop. For this reason, K-pop has redirected its target from China to the Western world. And many Korean pop artists and then entertainment companies began to focus on expanding their presence in Western market to look for new opportunities and international growth through exposure. In response to this ban on Korean popular culture, Chinese entertainment companies started to produce more content inspired by K-pop, as Korean content has not been available in China despite its popularity. Unfortunately, its rise can be limited to China. C-pop is primarily distributed and consumed through domestic platforms such as Baidu, Bilibili, Douyin, Tencent Video, and Weibo, as international platforms are not available in China. In other words, the access of international audiences to C-pop is limited. Despite such a condition, many C-pop can be found in international platforms recently. In this regard, many practitioners and scholars have questions about the purpose and the organization behind such activities. Lastly, it is meaningful to discuss the future of C-pop, especially comparing the international emergence of K-pop. Despite potential for international expansion, C-pop producers have shown limited exposure and reach beyond domestic audiences due to Chinese government policies. Therefore, C-pop remains primarily consumed within China through domestic platforms, which limits its international diffusion and exposure. As globalization has been hindered and Chinese audiences largely consume C-pop, the development of market sophistication can be hindered. Furthermore, nationalistic sentiment and government regulations may lead to a distorted appreciation of C-pop's cultural and artistic value, which can affect its reception and recognition beyond China. In addition, an overemphasis on nationalism in C-pop may limit its appeal to international audiences, who may perceive it as overly focused on Chinese themes and values. There is a potential conflict between catering to Chinese values and entertaining international audiences. This has led C-pop producers to a dilemma in striking a balance between cultural nationalism and entertainment value. Lastly, rising anti-Chinese sentiment can discourage international consumption of C-pop. The recent trade dispute between China and the United States, unstable geopolitical tension, the neo-Cold War, as well as the digital Cold War, have contributed to the formation of negative image about China in the world. Also, the digital Cold War regarding semiconductor have deteriorated restrictions on the distribution of and promotion of C-pop on digital platforms, and this can limit its global reach and influence. I hope you find this lecture informative and helpful to know more about Chinese pop culture. This is all for today. Thank you for your attention.